I could seriously beat these kids at 2K. They are not even close. Oh, man. Sorry about that. I'm going to put this away, but if you ever do want to play, you can just have my gamer tag. It's I must have accidentally censored that. Sorry. Anyways, somebody hit the intro. So math. All right. So today what we're going to talk about is we're going to go back to equations, and we're going to talk about solving equations. We're going to start with a simple one-step, move to a two-step, back to a one-step, and then to a multi-step. Okay? And you'll see why. Because there's one thing with equations we never talked about, and that is how to solve when there is exponents. So we're going to start very basic. You're going to yell through the screen right away. You know the answer to this question, and that's great. But we're going to talk about why. Ooh, sorry. So x squared equals 9. Okay? This is a one-step equation because there's only one thing being done to x. If you're in my classes, you know I like to use a do-undo list. So I'm going to do that right now. And what I do when I create a do-undo list is I look and I say, okay, I find the side of my equation that's included or that is including the variable. And I say, all right, what's being done to that variable? And you should be yelling through your screen, squared. It's being squared. It's being squared. So we're going to write, how would I do that? Little exponent for being squared. How do you undo squaring something? What is the inverse of squaring? Okay, I hear you, yellow shirt. Okay, blue shirt, got it. Black shirt, good idea. I don't know what you're saying. I actually can't hear you or see you, so don't worry about that. To undo squaring of something, you need to square root. So on the undo side of our equation, that tells us what we're going to do to both sides. I mean, on the undo side of our list, it tells us what we're going to do on both sides of our equation. So I like to split the problem in half. And I know I need to square root both sides. There's only one thing to square root here. There's only one thing to square root here. When you square root something that is squared, all that is left is the thing that was squared. These cancel, the squared and the square root. So you're left with x equal to, what's the square root of 9? It is 3. That is your final answer. And that's how you do it. If you thought negative 3 is also an appropriate answer, but for our purposes, we are just talking about the positive answers. Okay. Then we've got another problem. X squared plus 1 equals 17. This is a two-step equation. So I'm going to create my do-undo list again. And I want to say, okay, what is being done first to that x? Very first, order of operations. Parentheses, no. Exponents, yes. It's being squared. What's being done second? We're adding 1. So we're going to add 1. To undo, you reverse the order. So the plus 1 is going to go up top now, and then you invert the sign. So to undo addition, we subtract. To undo squaring, we square root. So to undo this problem, we're going to start by subtracting 1 to both sides. This side's easy. There's only one number there, so we're going to subtract 1 here. But over here, we want to subtract 1. We've got two terms. We want to subtract 1 from the term that will cancel something out. If I subtract 1 from this x squared, I've got a mess. If I subtract 1 from this 1, they will cancel. Remember, we're trying to undo. Okay? So we're left with x squared. The equals come straight down. 16. Again, you should be yelling through your camera. You may have yelled at the beginning. I know what that is. I know the answer. I know the answer. Well, now we need to square root both sides. We can continue our splitting. The square root of x squared is just x. Again, they cancel. And the square root of 16 is 4. That's how you do that. And if you ever are confused, you can always plug it back in and check it. 4. 4 squared is 16, plus 1 is 17. Okay? 2 more problems. Two more problems. X cubed equals 27. So what in the world does x cubed mean? That means something times itself 3 times is 27. And the answer is not 9. Okay? Don't think 9 times 3 is 27. We're not timesing 3. It's x times x times x. So what number times itself is 27? So times itself 3 times. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a do-undo list again. This is a one-stepper again. So we are cubed here. So how do you undo cubing something? And there's something called the cube root. So it's just like a square root, except to undo a cube root, you're trying to find a triple. Remember how in a couple videos back we found pairs and pulled the pairs out of the square root? Well, if it's a cube root, we're looking for triples. So what times itself 3 times? There's 27. So we need to cube root both sides. Oh yeah, we split the problem. The cube root of x cubed is just x, and the cube root of 27 is, it's going to be 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. So 3 is our answer. Okay? Then we have one last problem, and this is our multi-step. So if you've been in my class before, you know when we have a multi-step problem, the first thing we want to do is distribute. So let's distribute this 2 inside. So what's 2 times x cubed? 2x cubed, good. And what's 2 times 2? 4, good. And it's a positive 4, and that's equal to 20. Now we've got a 2-step equation. Now we can do undo. So when I create the do undo list, what's being done first to x? This is actually going to be more than 2 steps. Excuse me for saying that. Wow, it's a multi-step still. But our do undo list will still work. What's being done first to x? Remember order of operations. Exponents are first. So we're cubing first. Then we're multiplying by 2. And then we're adding 4. So when we undo that, reverse the order. So we're going to subtract 4 first. Oops, subtract 4 first. Then we're going to divide by 2. Then we're going to cube root what's left. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to take a little bit. I'm going to try to write a little smaller. So the first thing we want to do is subtract 4. This side's easy. There's only one thing that can be subtracted by 4. But this, we've got 2 terms. Again, we want to subtract from the one that will cancel. So that goes away. So now we're left with 2x cubed equals 16. Now we want to divide by 2 to both sides. So we divide 2. The 2's cancel. X cubed equals 8. You may be yelling through your computer screen right now. I know the answer, I know the answer. Yeah. Okay. So then we're going to cube root both sides. Those cancel. So I'm going to write over here because I'm running out of space. X is equal to, what is the cube root of 8? 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. X equals 2. This can get kind of confusing and kind of hairy. Feel free, obviously, to go back and rewatch the video. It should help after a couple times. If you have questions, please let us know. I'm not assuming that this is some simple topic. I understand it can be very confusing. You've got to know what it means to be cubed. You've got to know what it means to be squared. You've got to know the proper order to undo things. Remember, it's the reverse order of operations. So whatever squared or cubed is generally the last thing, generally. So just make sure that you get that in the right order. As always, if you have questions, comments, let me know. You can let me know down below. Ha, that's my first time doing that. Down below, hit the like, subscribe, ring the bell. No. Or you can just email me, whatever you need. And I'm here for you to try to help. And yeah, let's hit the outro. Still math. Y'all watch out for puddles, and I am going to go teach some people how to play 2K.